I'm going to do the best I can trying to explain probably the most confusing movie I have ever seen in my life. Before I get in there, me and my friend Dan swear on our life that we're missing time. We seem to be missing a day, or we thought it was the 11th day. We swore on it. So if there's anyone else that's experiencing some kind of weird time warp, or they can't seem to understand how it's July 10th today when it should be the 11th, please let me know, because me and Dan are expressing the same feelings, knowing that it's supposed to be the 11th, but it's not. Now, this movie, guys, gonna ruin it for you, so hold your horses, because it is a mind screw of epic proportions. Let me try to start. Well, you can't really start because it's about time travel and it loops around in circles. So the movie has a beginning, but yet it doesn't at the same time. It's called Predestination. With Ethan Hawke, by the way, who is the actor in one of my favorite movies ever made called Gattaca. If you haven't seen Gattaca, that's also a trippy movie with a lot of mind screws of its own. So, we have a guy who kidnaps a baby girl from a maternity ward, and he takes this little girl to an orphanage, who then grows up to be trained in this covert time traveling policeman type program. But before she gets there, she becomes a he through some kind of genetic mutation where she just changes genders for some reason. And that she becomes a terrorist. So now this terrorist has to be stopped by this time traveling police force to prevent these attacks from taking place. Now, who is stopping who? So Ethan Hawke was the one who kidnapped the baby from the maternity ward, and he is the one, the leading cop, trying to stop this terrorism from taking place in the future that is supposedly going to be done by this baby when she grows up to become a he. And as he travels back in time, it becomes more and more obvious that he is actually, they're both actually the same. Duh, right? Where else would it go? So they're the same character. So, in essence, he's going back in time to kidnap himself, and as he grows up, he attempts to try to prevent himself from becoming the terrorist. But there's even more. So how is he procreates with himself to birth himself on top of that. So he goes back in time when this orphan girl is of age and older to have intercourse with her, which is him, so that she can give birth to himself, so that he can go back in time and kidnap himself from the maternity ward so that he doesn't become the terrorist. I'm serious. This is what the. You just gotta see it because it's so ridiculous. It's like almost hard to imagine like how to even try to explain this. And but what ends up happening is that he only towards the end finds out that he was the terrorist all along. So there is a version of him that retires the police force from the police force and time travel. And he meets his older self that explains to him that he was doing all these terrorist acts. And he ends up killing himself, the older version. Hence stopping the cycle of the time loop. And I'm watching this movie, and it's kind of silly. It's so convoluted, it's beyond belief. And I'm like, there must be realities in the omniverse where you can actually live this convoluted life. And wouldn't that be an interesting experience? Where the focus on your soul growth is he was trying to understand herself in a different way than we are trying to hear, where the emphasis here is on linear time and the emphasis in the movie is broken into parts of time and versions of him or herself. So it's interesting at the same time as kind of silly and convoluted as it is. Yeah, I do recommend watching it if you want to see it. It's a confusing one. You probably didn't understand anything I just said, and I probably didn't either. But it's interesting. And speaking of time, if anyone seems to be missing a day, please let me know. No dreams right now. They're going to be dreams, though. I'm going to meditate before sleeping. And it's been a few days, so I'm bound to get one pretty soon. That's about it. Just struggling with discernment of my own internal thoughts lately. And very blank-minded lately. Very blank-minded. I'm trying to build up that dialogue with the source again, which can be difficult at times when your mind is so all over the place. But we need that dialogue. Anyway, sorry, that was the best I could do to try to interpret that movie. Have a good one.